Thank you. I'm Jonas. This is Savvas. We are from the Red Team, and we're really excited to be here today. We don't have that much time, so I'll just go real fast through so we can get to the demo. But yeah, so we're a bank, but we're mostly a tech company, IT company at this point. Got lots of services. We have old funny stuff like mainframe. As many of you are internal, you already know this. So yeah, let's skip ahead. So like was mentioned, we're from the Red Team. Our fancy dancing partner there is the Blue Team, which are present here. And of course, this is hello. Hello. This is taken from military jargon of attacker and a defender. Oh, works again. Great. And basically, when we are trying to attack, we try to adopt the mindset of a hacker. So we are thinking more holistically about the attack, and we are thinking of it as a chain. We're thinking of it as a phase, basically. And thinking about it that way, and being able to think or have the opportunity to think like a hacker, that actually has its perks, because it gives us a whole range of stuff that we basically don't care about, right? We can pretty much don't care about all the compliance stuff, just about any excuse you can think of, we can disregard it, because whatever works is what will work for the real hackers. So this is actually a poster we have in our office next to our architects in Denmark, where we come from. We don't have such fancy offices as this, but in our crappy office in Høje-Taastrup, we have this poster, and we have it there for the architects to keep it real, so they just remember that their work is, though it's not useless, but the attacker mindset will just disregard everything that's on this list, basically. There could be like 50 more things on the list easily. And the reason this one is so important is that an attack happens in chains. So you will have something, and then you go onto something, and then onto something, and then you reach your objective. And people don't realize that usually. So that's why you hear all these excuses that you have, like, it's an internal system, it's not really important, there's no customers on it, blah, blah, blah. You hear all these things. So a great defensive measurement for this is the kill chain, the cyber kill chain, which you probably have heard of. Defenders have the kill chain, attackers have the attack chain. And the great thing about the cyber kill chain is that it acknowledges this fact that attacks are happening in chains and in phases, and it tries to kill off the attack at the various stages, like proper defense in depth, really. So, how many here know the cyber kill chain? A few? A lot, actually. Okay, good. Because, like I said, this is actually the right way to think about security. And we're going to showcase some of the phases. Usually well, actually all of them, I think, pretty much. Yeah. And just one note about the cyber kill chain that is, so it goes through all these steps, right? And usually it's like phishing and stuff happening. And then you reach step number 7. And it just says actions and objectives. And you're not done when you reach this. So the kill chain is usually thought of as how to breach the outer layer of the network. But once you reach 7, you actually have to redo the whole thing again. You have to do reconnaissance internal. You have to do all kinds of things. And maybe you have to do the whole thing one more time. So this is just an important fact about the cyber kill chain, is that don't stop at 7, like you have to really reinvent the whole thing further down. Okay, so Savvas is going to show a cool example in just a second by using USB or SSH. Okay, usually phishing is the way to get in, but one thing on the Red Team that we've been trying to push is that real-life exploits are also used often, and especially in this new political climate, this might be a thing that we're seeing more of. And we have a this is a real-life example of a vulnerability in Citrix share file. And don't worry, I'll walk you through it in a second. That penetrated the edge. This is 2 years back or something of Danske Bank. This is an arbitrary. So there's two vulnerabilities. The 8982 is arbitrary file read. The 8983 was discovered by Surfshark. Yeah. The handsome young man there used to be on Danske Bank Red Team and discovered 8983. So they're kind of like the same. Of course, the file write is much worse because you get a web shell on the machine in that case, right? This is a little more simple to just explain. So, no. Yeah. So maybe I could just ask out if anyone has an idea of what class of vulnerability is going on here. We have a hand there. No. Anyone else? Yeah? Yes, directory traversal. So unfortunately I can't point with this, but it's really a simple exploit that just launches one command against a server called sfdanskebank.com, that share file server. It's a server that's used for sharing all the files. And the directory traversal part is all the dots you see there that I can't point to with my laser pointer, but where we are reading the file winini in the Windows folder, and that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing the output of that. So we're reading a file off the server. So that's the crux of the exploit. And to just top it off with the point about that all links matter and all the excuses you can say about something not being important. You can see that we bypass in the X forwarded for, we bypass and say this. We're coming from localhost, which means that everybody that says, well, you can only reach this from localhost, gone, right? And then you have, well, maybe you have a WAF, like a Netscaler WAF, that should catch this. Yeah, right. That's what in the X validate require thing, taken straight out of the Netscaler manual, that just surpasses the HTTP callout WAF functionality. So anybody that came along with these things, you could just say, well, surpassed both and, well, exploit. Cool. So that was just an example of a real-life exploit, which I see we're going to see a lot more of. And now on to just skip all the rest because we're out of time. And there's beer. Yes, we have a CTF to go for it.
Can you hear me? Yeah. There's some echo.
Yeah, you're standing next to the speaker.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So the setup that we're going to see today on this demonstration is the following that you see on the screen right now. So we have an attacker, Russian hacker, whatever. We have the target that the attacker has. And usually what's happening is that the attacker will go through what's called the CNC server. CNC stands for command and control. And that's to make it more difficult to trace back. So if a forensics investigation will go on the target later on, it will be way more difficult to trace back the real location of the attacker. CNC server will do will take most of the load. So the established connection between the target and the attacker will happen through the CNC. And of course, there might be multiple hops from the attacker to the CNC server, and that will make it even more difficult. So the first step is the connection of the attacker to the CNC server. That could happen with many ways. One way is to setting up a reverse SSH tunnel. And this way, through this reverse tunnel, the CNC server will forward all the packets that are received from the target parts of the attacker. The second step is the establishing of a connection between the target and the CNC server. So eventually we have this, and this is how the attacker will be able to command and control the target that is infected. Now that's what's going through inside the CNC server. So the attacker will speak through the SSH tunnel, and all those packets will be forwarded through the established HTTP connection, or whatever connection is established. And from the other side, the target will send packets on port 443. That's the we all know that's the HTTPS port. This way, firewalls are bypassed because most of the time this port is trusted. And yeah, all those packets will reach the attacker again through the tunnel. Now, let's see some real action. So, here's the attacker's machine. So, in my case, it's a Kali Linux machine. The first step is, as we said, to establish a reverse SSH tunnel with our CNC server. So, the command is pretty simple. It's just a normal SSH. -R stands for reverse tunnel. And as we saw on the slides before, whatever is reaching the remote port 443 HTTPS will be forwarded on localhost, thus on this Kali Linux machine, on port 8888. Doesn't matter, it can be any local port. And my CNC server is at 185.247, whatever. If we do a quiz on this IP, wait, 185. This machine is actually a VPS, a virtual private server, standing in Germany right now. So what we do is we execute this command, and now we're into the CNC server. So the second step is to go there on the CNC server on my mailer folder, and here I have some files. I have an email sent file, which is an executable. I have a file called employee opinion survey.docx, my phishing file, and I have an email body. So we just execute email send. And now let's say that employee is standing here, and as you can see, I have a new email right now. The email is coming from noreply@russianhacker.ru. And it has a body, which is the phishing text. I don't know if you can see it standing on the back, but dear colleague, yada yada yada, whatever, and an attachment. So the employee opinion survey. So let's download this. So we have the attachment downloaded on our desktop. So far nothing happens, everything is fine, we haven't executed nothing weird. In the meantime, the attacker will open another terminal and will set as called the listener. So this is the place where the packets arriving at 443 on the CNC will hit our local machine. So I will run a software called Metasploit. It's a software that's commonly used for various purposes, malicious purposes. It makes everything super easy, and you will see why in a few seconds. So we wait a few seconds for this to load. All right. Then I will minimize this. I go to my home folder. I have a text file with commands. Nothing special here. We just set the listener. And as simple as just running run as a job, you will see that we have an HTTPS reverse handler standing on my local host on port 8888. the same port that will forward the packets from HTTPS to our local port. And we just wait, right? So if we do sessions, we have no active sessions, we haven't hacked anybody yet. And if we do jobs, we have a job waiting for us. So let's clear this screen. We just wait. Now, at some point, the target will open this file eventually, if the phishing is good. And they will come across with something like that. So it's just a normal document that, because it was downloaded from my email, it automatically opens us in a read-only mode. So we cannot type anything here, unless we, of course, press enable editing. So let's do it. By the time we press enable editing, we get something weird like that, and at the same time, something appeared on the attacker. We just cancel that because it's the normal Microsoft troubleshooter. We can now edit the document, all right? And we can close it and delete it. However, if you see on the attacker screen, the last message is a interpreter session 1 opened. And what is an interpreter session? It's actually a shell with extra functionality. So if we go sessions, we have a session number 1, and it shows that I have infected this machine standing here. We just interact with this session, and we have an interpreter cell. And pressing the question mark, you can see all this crazy functionality that this session has. So right now, I am able to record the microphone, get a snapshot from the webcam, move the mouse, move the keyboard, start dumping all the keystrokes, escalate privileges to system or to administrator or to whatever, scan for other computers, move laterally to other computers in the same network of this employee. Just for demonstration, we will use some of the more Hollywood-like functions. Like one of those that I like is the screenshot. So we'll take a screenshot, and if everything worked good, here is a screenshot, the screen of the victim. Another one that's even more cool is to get a webcam snap. And that's the reason to cover your webcams. So, we cover the webcam, but okay, we all know webcams have lights and LEDs flashing, so we know that somebody is watching us. What about the microphone though? There's no indication. So, let's record the microphone for, I don't know, 5 seconds. Hello TechNight, this is Red Team demonstrating some live hacking. And you just see the small indication of the microphone that just disappeared on the target. And now if I go on my root folder, I have this WAV file. So let's listen to that. Oh God. Weird HDMI. Give me 1 second. No? So let's listen it from my Windows better. I hope this works. So access to the microphone is also possible. And now we are, as the hackers say, we are in. And we are at step 7. And at some point, the employee will turn off his computer, right? And that's where we need to set some kind of persistence. So the next time that the laptop will be opened, we will have the same session again. Metasploit makes it super easy. We can just, first of all, clear, then search for persist, And, oh, I got. And for persistence, there's all those possibilities. So I can just use one of these, and with just a few commands, I will be able to get a session once again if this laptop was rebooted. That's one part of the attack. So the second part, and for this I will actually kill this session. So sessions kill.
Are we on time, by the way?
No. So we have no active sessions. But let's see something even more interesting now. We saw the phishing method. We know that we cannot trust documents for sure. What if I asked you, what is that? What would you say is that? It's a USB flash drive, right? All right, indeed, it is a USB flash drive, but this one has extra powers. One of those extra powers is that this one will get detected from your Windows laptop as a keyboard that is able to start typing keystrokes automatically. So, what if we were here on the target's machine and I could save to a memory the keystroke, Windows key and R button, then backspace, then start C and D. We have a command prompt. What if I change this command with some other arguments and I make it automatically download something malicious and execute it? Let's do a demonstration of that. So I just plug it in, and by the time I will plug it in, you will see on the bottom left side of the screen things being typed super fast. You won't even notice if you look 1 second to the other side. So we plug it in. And here is the box with things typed super fast. It didn't take even 1 second, right? Now take a look here. I don't touch anything. Another session. That's pretty cool, right? This is for the physical side of the things. All right, so we know for a fact that we cannot trust USBs as well. What about hard drives? Hard drives from Western Digital, from, I don't know. Do you trust that? If you find this on your desk lying there for 1-2 weeks, would you plug it in? Yeah, why not? I would. So I would get the cable, plug it into USB-C, then on the computer. We clear the screen. The same box and my hard drive files. 3 seconds and another session here. And this is a normal working hard drive, nothing malicious with that. I mean, I bought this from a store. It's 1 terabyte SSD, like nothing is going wrong with this hard drive, my files.